Okay, I think I'm back. Oh, this rock has a lot of crystal in it. See that big old crystal pocket and there and there? Wow. Um, Along the lines of making excuses, I like to use my boppers a long time, and on the copper-headed ones, and they work. They like get where they work better and better as I keep using them because they're a little bit softer and can take some great flakes without making huge bulbs or anything, but they can be where when you hit a harder rock with them, sometimes nothing happens too much. You got to hit harder or faster. And so, I emphasized in some of my earlier videos, I kind of was doing a lot of the time with the largest, commercial size type bopper, and I still do, but the thing that I would tell you is just remember, you have to practice a lot and come to understand energy delivery into different rocks and what they prefer, because sometimes mass is the most important thing, and sometimes, like just right there, speed would have been better. I was hitting it too slowly, and again my knee is right by the stand and all, and my arm is kind of close, so I'm trying not to hit my setup, but I'm just hitting down and redirecting with my finger to put blenders into here to try and get convexity where there's concavity, kind of. So now raise this up. Once you do that a little bit, you start getting things sort of punctated and dirty under there. You raise it up, and then what you can do is just, come in with one harder one and undercut and drive past the other stuff and sort of clean it up. But you can flick these things, when you're trying to do a little short flake or something with kind of a heavy percussor. If you don't feel like switching to your other percussor, just flick it a little bit faster. Because you can accelerate this well, you just have to remind yourself to do it and practice it. But you will create a lot of messes, at least temporarily, little messes, by swinging too slowly on a platform and failing it. So here we got this, and in theory, not necessarily in actuality, it looks like there might be a little crack or seam or something in here. But at any rate, you have this narrowness. So if I want to orient a point in this lengthwise like that instead of this way, and it's almost a toss-up, just a little bit longer though. If I want to do that, then I have to be really creative with how I lose all this, because I'll just lose all the width and I'll end up having a shorter point anyway. So one of the things you can do is to try and take some of this off. I'm gonna hit this with a smaller one. Dadgum. I did a lot of work in the yard yesterday and I'm uncoordinated. I didn't get that thick enough though, because I wanted to take more of it off. some of it off. I can really tell that I haven't been videoing because I just can't move over here by the equipment, which is really a misuse of the term equipment. It's my stuff, my setup. I really hit better when I don't think. I've gotten to that point. Didn't sink that enough on this end. I'm going kind of short, trying to raise this up. And you see the stuff that I'm doing, doesn't matter. Not a problem. Trying to come down right on top of that little hump and cut that. But again, I'm doing too much on each rock. Dang. Ew. This was a leverite rock that needs to become a take her right to the nearest snap in and give her to an unsuspecting person rock. Wow. See, there's a big, huge seam right here. There's a big old seam right there, and it looks like there's sort of a foldy looking thing, so it may go deep. So if I put much effort in this rock, it may break in half right there. Are you curious? I'm not really, but let's see what's in there. So I blew that back this way. And you can see that's folding down and turning, going kind of around the corner. So it doesn't look like it goes all the way the length of it, but it's diving into here, so we need to see what it looks like right under here. So in order to do that, this is kind of turned. So I'm going to hit sideways a little bit on this. Kind of knock that off. And then I'm going to hit downward on this, but I'm going to put some support to do some good there. That's not really my goal. My goal is to get something to come back this way because I need to find what's going to fall off on this thing before I waste a lot of time on the rock. But anyway, we're going to go, oh, come on, like that. See, right under here, it's pretty nice, and it almost looks like it might have gotten a light heat from somewhere. That just blew out. So there's still an issue, but I'll tell you, people might wonder why I work the kind of stuff I do. This rock is somewhat unique in its appearance, and I value that. I like weird rocks. I like funcatated looking rocks. Funcatated is a term that my son brought home from school when he was a kid. One of his friends said it. My son started saying it a lot, and then so I started saying it a lot, and I've been saying it ever since, off and on. Okay, I want to see what's in there, so I'm going to hit this thing and see. I'm even going to try and do it on camera. That's not optimal. So this kind of blew up from the flaws in it. Had nothing to do with the strike, because the strike was pretty gentle. And it goes even deeper. And I mean, I still believe there's probably a point in here to a degree, but it's not gonna be anywhere near the point it would have been if all this was great rock. And we still have like a seam there and a seam there, so there's still stuff that's gonna come apart. I was hitting that a little bit gently because I'm more concerned with things holding together at this point than I am with them coming off cleanly. Because I can fix those other kinds of issues that I create. That's not an issue. But the cleanness, sometimes people value the cleanness more. Well, the longer you nap, you get to where you can deal with it. So it's not an issue. I feel like I need to get weight off of here. You know, I still got this digging in and flaws, so something in here is probably going to let go. But it still would be nice to get some weight off here, and I still have these rough angles. Little short hit, almost straight in, rolled out right there, but raising it up and getting rid of a little bit. Same thing there, that worked pretty well actually. Sort of feathered right in there, and I'm getting a little weight off and thinning it up. It's hinging, but I don't care. I'm just trying to thin this. But this is a flaw, so I can't really, well, I can try, but I don't think it's going to do anything to hit there. I hit up above it and was able to do some good. So this is working, sort of. All right, so now I'm going to flip it. It's getting awfully narrow, but so that was sort of an oblique strike. We got up kind of close to the center line, but not really. I mean, we're still okay. Come back in the opposite direction. We still have all that, and we still have a seam probably in here somewhere, but I'm going to go ahead and hit one straight in, more or less there, and let it roll out. And I know this bottom part is getting all gnarly looking from what I'm doing, but I'm just not really worried about it. I mean, I think that's all fairly solid flint in there, so I can try and do more with that in a minute. I'm really trying to get this end. Okay, so this is sort of boogered up looking. Not sure what's going on there. I see some red that looks like, I see a crack in there. The orangey is you know, from groundwater getting in those cracks. So try and undercut stuff a little bit. Still a seam in there. Short blender, short blender. All right, so that looks like it goes under there, so I really still need to come into there. You start wondering, you know, what's the best of whatever number of, see the seam in there. Start wondering what's the best of the few options you have left. So this is a platform that I can hit pretty good, maybe. Kind of drive it a little ways. Still I keep doing more than I intend to with each rock, but oh well. I really just sort of trimming stuff and make it take less room and decide whether or not to get rid of it. This is all bad in here. Seamy. May not hold together. Did. Try to hit it fast. That was sort of an upside down platform that shouldn't have been hit, but it worked. Same thing kind of here. Trying to flatten. Drove that hard into here knowing that it would probably hinge. Wow, that didn't even let go. And I should have reground that or done something, because you can figure when you do that you've damaged it, and you're probably going to get somewhat of a failure on the next strike. But on a rock like this, where I still have this much left and all, I just didn't really worry about it. Driving that down into all this seaminess. And there's seaminess here, so odds are, since there's seam there and seam in the same place over here, this whole area, this whole side is probably subject to failure. This looks like an old rock. It looks like an oxidized, internally oxidized, nasty old rock. So that's hitting down into that seam. And there's a big pocket of concretey oxidized junk. And I'm not encouraging anyone to spend time on this sort of a rock. I do it because it's just as much practice, and it's just as much, if not more fun and more interesting than hitting a good rock to me. But I'm not as interested in the results anymore as some people might be. I mean, if I'm having an okay time, then that's the goal. All right, well, I think that's probably going to fail, and I've gone a while on this, so I'm stopping and coming back.